Hello, Lua underscore DOJ. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Hello, Benny Gold. That's not where speaking. Approvals are everywhere these days. We don't speak negatively. I'm not sure where where you're coming from, but we thank God for approvals that we're able to see. I don't know where power of life and death is in the tongue. I mean, I don't know. Everyone's brain is different, but you've got to speak things into existence, and whatever you speak into existence, don't be surprised if that's what you're experiencing, because thank you. It's everywhere. We thank God. We thank God for approvals. Over the weekend, we had 2 green cards approved, a 9751 approved, work authorization applications approved. I mean, thank you. I mean, I know they're talking from their own experience and what's going on, but even in spite of that, you've got to speak it into existence. You've got to believe that it is, you know. Exactly. Thank you, Plenty. The old Plenty 01. I mean, I listen. For instance, there's some things in my house we don't speak. My kids know. We don't say something that we're struggling with anything. My boys know we don't ever confess to struggle with anything. The word we use is sometimes something is challenging, right? You've got to train and condition your mind towards what it is that you plan and you hope to achieve, or you hope to see. And yeah, but anyway, hello, God's favorite. Good evening. How are you? Welcome in, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Yo, I don't know where September is running to, but why do I think this month? I don't know. There's something. I don't know. There's something about this month. But anyway, 2 days from now, September 25th, 2025, is going to be the 11th year of being admitted to the Alabama State Bar. Oh, not admitted. I take that back. 11th year of my bar results anniversary. There's some things you just don't ever forget in your life. My bar results came on, and I still have the email till tomorrow. September 25th, 2014, 3 a.m. Exactly 3 a.m. I still have the email. 3 a.m. September 25th, 2014. We're pleased to inform you. I can never forget. And as God will have it, for whatever reason, my mother was awake during that time, and that was the first person I called at 3 something a.m. God just wakes you up and you're like, okay, why am I awake? And then you just like, let me check my email. And I called her and she was like, I was like, yeah, it's me. Like, well, I don't know, for whatever reason, I was up like, this is it. So 11 years. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. And last week, Friday, I went to law school, so I don't have to do math. Last week, Friday was 11 years of becoming a U.S. citizen. So those are the things that, motivate me to keep going into also this work that we do for other immigrants, because, it's a different kind of representation. And I always say that when you've gone through an experience, it's one thing to have an experience because it's something you do for a living. It's another thing to have experience because it's something you have gone through, and so you can relate to other people. There are some emails that will always have room in the email, but no matter. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, no matter what, there'll always be those emails that covering us on. You always have. They just stay in the inbox for life. So that it's been in my inbox for. And I had a different email back in, because I didn't have a law firm then, 2014, but it's in a different email. But that email it's part of my inbox, and it's in that inbox. It's been in the inbox for 11 years. Like I said, like literally speaking, because there's some exams you do, and you come out of the exam hall, and if lawyers who've taken the bar exam will tell you, uh, they, everyone was like chitty chatter and all that. You're running through ideas about with each other, and then you're done with the exam, and everybody. I'm telling you, I can never forget. This was in Montgomery, Alabama. It was about 5 something p.m. Everybody came out of the exam room, and everyone was silent. You would have thought there was something else going on. It was silence. Like people, all you could hear were just people just coming out of the hall, and everyone just going to their cars. And I had planned to stay back in Montgomery that evening. This was back in July 2014, and my brain just wasn't in the right, because I was like, was that in English or what kind of? I was like, I'm going home. I drove that evening back home, 3+ hours. Like, I'm going home. One lolly. I was like, what? And then to make you stay for 2 whole months, 2 months before you get the result. So you've got the longest 2 months of your entire life. Ugh. But we thank God for today. Well, hi everyone. Happy Tuesday. This is Attorney 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕, immigration attorney based in Alabama, representing immigration clients in all states. So we are physically located in Alabama, but it doesn't matter what state you live in. We can represent you in your immigration case. So reach out to us at 334-341-4475. Visit our website at 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. info@𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕 is the email address. Same number on WhatsApp, 334-341-4475. Email, text us, contact us. We on our social media platforms, 2 places where you would always get a response as quickly as possible, because those are the 2 main platforms that we check emails, messages: Instagram and WhatsApp. All the other, we don't respond to messages on TikTok. So hi TikTok people. No, we don't. So there's actually an auto message on our TikTok page that says if you send us a message, it will tell you that come to Instagram and send us that message on Instagram, because no one is going to respond. And so if you've been sending us message on TikTok and no one has responded, I can guarantee you that you have received that auto response. You just did not pay attention to it. So that's what it is. But like, follow, share, subscribe, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, at Olale Immigration, and we'll be glad to represent your immigration case. I was going to say, so shout out to, well, we've got 2 new citizens. One has been sworn in, one is going to be sworn in. We got Miss C.N. was green card was approved over the weekend. Congratulations to you. God is still in the business of approving cases, VA cases, green card applications. I know there's a whole lot going on with this administration. It looks like, okay, well, it's an anti-immigrant, but USCIS is still working. Applications are still being filed. They're still being adjudicated. So this is the time, and I keep saying this is the time you want to file for what you qualify for, because unlike in the past, where if something gets denied and you just want to take a break and like, okay, whatever. If you get denied and there's nothing else you've got pending, USCIS is issuing NTAs faster than you can drink your water, which I don't drink water really fast. I do actually drink water fast. You know what I mean? That wasn't a good example, but you know what I mean. They are issuing, so I met with a lady this afternoon for consult, and her case was denied just last week. And she already has an NT that was issued to her. So she was like, okay, how did that happen? So this is the time you don't have the laxity of, okay, let me just try to think of what I'm going to do. No, once they deny your case, they're issuing NTA. So this is not the time you want to be without something that you filed. But anyway, so once again, 334-341-4475 is a contact number. We'll be glad to represent you in your immigration case. Reach out to us and we would be honored to represent you. So let's talk immigration, y'all. Just a few updates. What are we talking about tonight? Recent immigration news, in the sense of what you just need to know, what's been going on in the immigration world. Not a lot of people are, well, people who do know, as for if you do business immigration, which is it's same thing as employment immigration, you know about the whole thing about the whole weekend was about H-1B petitions and employers. H-1B employers going to be made to pay additional $100,000 per employee per year in order for them to get their H-1B visas and all that. So I'll tell you this though. There is, there's been the Kennedy proclamation. There is a confusing part of it. I know USCIS put up on their website an Q&A section there regarding this H-1B and who is going to be the under $1,000 is going to be applicable to. So in a nutshell, this administration is expecting that employers, H-1B employers. So H-1B is a non-immigrant work visa that is filed by a U.S. employer on behalf of a foreign worker who has at least a bachelor's degree in order for them to work in what we call a specialty occupation position, meaning that position must require at least a bachelor's degree and the employee qualifies. And they're able to work for up to 6 years for that employer on 3 year, up to 3 year increments, up to 6 years. And you can work beyond the 6 years if you fall within some specific exemptions. So what this administration has now proclaimed, quote unquote, is they're going to charge employers $100,000. Like, hey, Epic Movements, they're going to charge employers $100,000 per employee per year in order for them to get their new. So then they're saying it's going to be applicable to just H-1B petitions that are being filed now, not for those who were outside the country, not necessarily those changing status within the United States. Now, I want to say this, and I want to be very clear on that. It's very ridiculous, but it is still a work in progress, so that there isn't much clarity on it, but it's still going to be seeing a whole lot. But one thing I would just say is, if you are an H-1B visa holder, or you're an H-1B status, this is not the time you want to travel. I haven't said that your employer is going to be responsible for paying $100,000, but even employers are not very clear. We're not very clear. I represent employers when it comes to H-1B. We've had quite a number of H-1B. H-1B petitions is what I do mostly when it comes to employment. I do employer-sponsored EB1, EB2, EB3. But when it comes to the business immigration part of it, H-1B is what my firm really does a whole lot of with business. So we're telling our clients to tell their employees, this is not the time they want to leave the country. Let's get the clarification on that first and see where we're going. You wake up and it's just one thing or the other. And I can even forget that there are other issues that this government has to even deal with besides immigration. But our immigrants of a country, like, hey, can I say, without immigrants, the country will go need dinner. The truth be told, but it is what it is. But anyway, so once we get more clarification on that, and obviously this comes at the heels of when the new H-1B group of people are going to be coming in, because it's starting. The new H-1B employees are going to start October 1st. That's when you can start, and then people are coming in within 30 days within 30 days of October 1st. So we're going to see how that goes. It's just a minute of it, but if you are on H-1B status, this is. You saw the video, passengers walking up the plane who were on H-1B. Absolutely, yeah. Emirates, I know we reported that. British Airways. So people are. If you're on H-1B status, please sit your butt down right now in the country and just be here on the other side, on this side, than the other side, because you just never know what's going on. So that's that. Citizenship test. So changes coming up with the citizenship naturalization test. They will be administering the 2025 naturalization test for citizenship applicants. If you are, I know we have a post on that and also have a short video explaining that, but just to run through that again, if you have a pending naturalization application right now, you are going to still take the current slash the 2008, I think is the version of the naturalization test. No, so nothing changes as of today, because like I said, okay, English language, we want people. Now there's supposed to be some essay part, writing part and all that, but we'll see. But nothing changes as of today when it comes to reading and writing. The initial changes right now that we know for sure is that if there's going to be they actually introduced this back in their first term, meaning this administration during their first term. That was the test they introduced, where they went from 100 test questions to 128. And USCIS officers will not typically ask you up to 10. You had to get at least 6 correctly. That's going to double now. So they can ask you up to 20 questions. Out of the 20 questions, you have to get at least 12 questions correctly. If you get less than 12 correctly, you're not going to pass it, but you'll be given another chance to take the civics test. So that's that. Now, if you've got a pending citizenship application, you are going to still take the current, quote unquote, current test, which is still, out of the 100, they ask up to 10, you have to pass at least 6 of it. If you file your naturalization application before October 20, 2025, you still will take that regular test. However, if you file your application on or after October 20, 2025, then you're going to be taking the new test, which is starting up to 128 questions. They can, 20 questions, you got to get 12 correctly. So basically it's doubling. So, and keep in mind, this is still in addition to all this new requirements of good moral character and all that good stuff. So that's that on that end. TPS is being terminated for people from Syria. They're still on the tirade of terminating TPS for people. And then they claim that as of today, they are celebrating deporting up to 2 million immigrants. I'm not sure where they get the number from, but that's what they're celebrating as. And by they, who they are. Starting October 28th, you will no longer be able to use checks or money order to pay your USCIS filing fees. Up until October 27, 2025, you can still use checks. You can still use credit card when you fill out the form. But money orders, specifically money orders and checks, you use that to pay your filing fees up until October 27. Starting October 28, you will not be able to use checks or money order to pay your filing fees. If you send your filing fee with a check or money order starting October 28, 2025, USCIS will reject your application and send it back to you, because they're going electronic payment for all applications now. And then last but not least, expect to see some field offices have actually started. I had an interview on Friday. So expect to send, this was already at this field office. Expect to see special agents at USCIS field offices. So they announced, I want to say it was a week ago or thereabout, that they will be having law enforcement. They're going to have units for special agents in USCIS, because the USCIS is an administrative agency and it's not a law enforcement agency. But as we already know, there is no limitation or limit to what this administration is going to do when it comes to making their own rules and their own laws. And everyone in Washington is just sitting in that U.S. Capitol doing absolutely nothing to stop anything. It is what it is. So they are now saying they now have special agents at USCIS offices. They'll find out soon. They now have special agents at USCIS offices. So basically, law enforcement officers who these are not people that you have the security guards and all that check you out. No. These are going to be people like you will see them at your local police departments and offices and stations and all. So they will have special agents, basically law enforcement officers, who will be armed, meaning they have guns. They can execute arrest warrants. They can actually arrest you and take you to jail and all that. So they're claiming that if for whatever reason, for instance, they decide that a case is a fraudulent case, and you're there to you come in, you apply for an application for immigration benefit. They make a determination it's a fraudulent case, or the person has an outstanding warrant. They would not be calling law enforcement anymore. They actually will have people who would effect this arrest and take you to detention and all that. I'm yet to see it. I don't think the U.S. courts have been as busy as they have been this year in any other administration. It's a whole lot. It's going to, and not really sure what's going on in the Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court used to be, that court where you really had a lot of reverence for. But now it looks like, you've got 6 Republicans on the bench. So it's almost like an extension of the White House. But God help us. I say all that to say this: we are expecting to see quite an increase in lawsuits regarding all of this craziness going on. Because the truth of the matter is, for instance, with the H-1B, it is not the place of the executive arm of government to just make laws or proclamation, and that is within the powers of the Congress. Congress is the one that determines and has to pass the bill about, fees when it comes to Immigration and Nationality Act, because that's what it's part of the act. So you can't just decide this is what it is. It has to be passed by them. So we're expecting that this is going to be something that will be challenged in court, but it's yet to be seen. Even the same thing goes for the special agents that they want to now make part of their agency. Like I said, USCIS is not a law enforcement agency. It is an administrative agency. So there's quite a bit that we can expect to see in the coming weeks when it comes to the lawsuits and all that. I will say, I know what that means. I really don't know. But I think what it means is, let's just see what happens. I think. Right, my Yoruba major people. I was wondering how we make changes without checks and balances. I don't think checks and balances work anymore. I really don't. I really don't. It's supposed to be. I mean, this is the country that has prided itself with being the peak of democracy and in a free country. It's like, what's going on? People say something, they want to silence them. Yeah, but anyway, that's all the updates we have this evening, and that's all she wrote. So, you can tell that I'm struggling to speak my words, which is not my forte, but this is what we're living right now. But anyway, let's go to questions. And please do not repeat questions. Put your questions in the comment section. We'll try to get to as many questions as possible. But yes. Okay. And congratulations. I almost forgot to Mr. A.B. It's an A.B. He finally joined I-751. I love to do I-751. I don't know why. Maybe because I love advocacy, but I love to do I-751s where you either are. Let me put it this way: self-petition I-751s. Love them because I love being a voice for people, especially when you're in a position where a spouse tells you, "Well, I'm going to withdraw from this I-751 petition and all that." Okay, that's the door. Don't let it hit you on your behind. What's the option we have? You've got abuse, you've got divorce, you've got hardship, and if the person passes away, I'm not saying go kill them. I'm just saying life happens. That's an option for self-petition. But I just love where I can see people just who thought they didn't have a choice but to be stuck with a spouse come consult with us, and I say, hey, listen. This is my forte. This is just leave that to me. So congratulations to Mr. A.B. whose wife thought he couldn't do it without her. And we converted to an abuse case, and voila. God says, here we are. And here we go. So anyway, okay, questions. Hello, Miss Christiana. How are you? 𝒂𝒏𝒕. Happy belated birthday, K. Auntie Joe. Birthday too. Auntie, that was what, like two, what's it, 23rd? That was a month ago. Over a month ago. But thank you. I just got my I just got my approval for my iTunes 51. Congratulations, Mr. Peter. And for the approval, congratulations. Did my interview on September 9th. Congratulations. Celebrating. Just want to share my good news. Absolutely. That is what this platform is for. So we can, God is a good God. Just believe in him. That's what I'm talking about. That's what the platform is for, to share your good news, to share your testimonies, because you never know who is going to be encouraged by that testimony. For instance, Mr. Aby that I'm talking about, um, he was lost. The wife left the house, took their two kids with her, didn't even think of, withdrew her part of and he was like, okay, where do I start? But I can't remember if someone told him to come join our live or whether he stumbled on it. I'm not really sure. And he was like, he was just listening to people talking about their testimonies and sharing. And he was like, you know what? He was very reluctant. He was like, okay, I don't know if I even have a case or how to go about it. But long story short, he took the leap of faith and reached out, scheduled a consultation with us, and here we are. He's got an approved case. Not because of any special talent, but because of God's grace. God's grace about, and the way to go through and gathered in his name. So congratulations, Mr. Peter. Your testimony is, it is a motivation and encouragement to somebody you don't know who is. I had another lady who was just crying her eyes out this afternoon. Like sometimes I think I need to go get like another degree. I just can't read, and I read every day because I have to research, but I just can't get another degree. I think I even have to. People, someone was asking me that because I worked as an adjunct professor, and when you're working as a professor in colleges, usually you have to have an advanced degree, at the very least a master's degree. And someone was talking to me about, my time. Is like, okay, how were you able to get a job as a professor? I was like, oh, by the way, that's true. I have a master's degree. I actually do. I completely forget my, because you might say you just your brain can, yeah. But sometimes I think I need to go get a psychology degree or something. But crying her eyes out because she has been in this country since 2014, and it's been one denial after the other, and she's just tired. And she was like, I don't know where to go. Someone told me to come meet with you, and I really don't even know what it is I'm looking for. I'm just here for you to just tell me what can be done for me and my child. And I said, God is going to direct us. Let's figure out what start with a FOIA request and all that. But the point is, you just never know who is listening, Mr. Peter, who may be encouraged by your testimony and who just needs that encouragement tonight. So, yeah. Hello, Miss Mary. Good evening. I got your, okay, I was just about to ask if you got my email. Thanks for the update. You're absolutely welcome. Mr. Peter, everyone is saying congratulations to you. We rejoice with you. We celebrate with you. And may your testimony be a point of contact to others that are waiting on God. It's, the vision is yet for an appointed time, but when your appointed time comes, when you are living in your appointed time, there is nothing anyone can do to stop God's greatness moving in your life. So just trust and believe. You're absolutely welcome. You're amazing. We're giving hope to those that have been told there's no hope. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. Okay, let's go to TikTok. Yeah, that's my baby boy. Last week was our homecoming. Y'all do homecoming. It was American thing. Homecoming stuff. Where they feel it's, they TP your house and all that. Ṣé ìjọ́ tí o tọ́ ṣe kinní yẹn láti ilé mi? You would have thought that it was. I told CS, like, if your friends try this, the American tradition, that's fine. For me, it is trashing my house. That's the whole point. I don't. I got too much OCD to be having TP all over my house. Like, I'm not seeing it as tradition. I'm seeing it as you're messing my house, and that, and then it's usually very, very dewy in the morning during the fall. so it sticks to your grass and everything, right? And all of that. So no. You may have lost me on Instagram because my son, other son, is trying to call me. Let me text him on my live show. I can text him real quick here so he doesn't on the live show, kid. On the live show. Live show. He knows better than to tell me at this time. He says my bad. Yeah. Did you guys? Okay. Yeah. I figured. Can you tell me if I'm back on Instagram? My kid was calling me. Am I back on Instagram? Yes, no. Okay, yeah, my son was calling me. So I didn't do anything. But I cannot say sorry because that was my child. So I can't be sorry that my child is calling me. Okay, perfect. All right. Let's see. Updates on F1 visa. What do you mean updates on F1 visa? Can I work with an I-7? Disclaimer, nothing specific to anyone's case. No worries, son. You're good. Hope I didn't disrupt anything. You didn't disrupt me. You can never disrupt my life. Everything else stands still for my kid. Can I work with I-797 approval notice with the attached I-94 on the bottom? Can you work in what status? What is attached? Are you talking? Is it your change of status? H-1B? What exactly is the status you're talking about? Got my citizenship months ago. Congratulations. Congratulations. Let me go back to the top. Hold on 1 second. A lawyer filed an immigrant visa application for my daughter, who is a citizen by birth. Okay, so what's the question? Why would they file an immigration? Okay, but what's the question, though? So what's the question you have regarding your daughter's case? My fiance just received the K1 visa that she has 3 months from when she receives the visa to leave. It's the visa will tell you how long it's valid for. So she needs to look at the visa stamp she was given. It has an expiration date. Okay. I have a deportation order, but I've approved VAWA and I'm scared. What can I do? I have pending I-485. Unless you are an arriving alien, USCIS will not approve your I-485 without you having to file a motion with the court to reopen your case and then terminate the removal order. So you need to sit down with a lawyer and figure out how to go about doing that. I had an arrest in 2023 and got dismissed and wanted to file for citizenship. Is that okay? Sit down with the lawyer to figure out if that's okay. It's not just a yes or no question. Your status is asylum. Okay, so the I-94 is proof that you can, if that's the, so congratulations on being granted your asylum and asylum status. So the I-94 is proof that you are allowed to stay here indefinitely, and it's proof that you can work in the United States as an asylee. So yes, sure. Disclaimer, nothing specific to anyone's case, just general information. No. So no. Any changes or updates to DACA? No, there hasn't been anything new regarding that. No. You're beginning of hope, been on this immigration journey since 2021. It's been a roller coaster, I can imagine. While listening to you every Tuesday and Thursday calms my troubled heart and mind, your godsend. Okay, thank you. But y'all know that listen, I put on a tough exterior because I'm a tough girl, but I'm extremely emotional. That's what a lot of people don't know about me. I'm a very, very emotional person. I'm extremely sensitive. Epic movements will understand. I'm extreme. Like I'm fiercely motivated, but I'm fierce, but I'm also very not timid. I'm not so timid, but I can be extremely emotional. So I can cry watching a commercial that is very touching. Go figure. So, but thank you. Thank you. Right back at you. Okay. Let's see. Alrighty. Okay. So, uh, my sister got the fourth prima facie determination. What next? What next is the next step? She's going to wait for her case to be adjudicated. My vow is 2 years now, but work permit that is, but on work permit that is, you mean that is that normal? There's nothing abnormal about that. You 2 years is within the normal process of time. Can that be sufficient to present to my job? I had DACA before I would present my work permit. Your employer should know. If it's for those employers, and if they don't know, there's something you can print from USCI's website that lets them know that an asylum given an I-94 is proof of the. You actually, that's proof that you can work. But a lot of people would still want to file the A5 category work permit, which is for asylees. So you can do that as well, but you don't need to. If your employer doesn't accept that, which I haven't had any employer not accept that. Sometimes I have to write a letter and then attach that information to it for my client, and they take it to the employer. Then that's something you can use. Y'all, you want to fetch me here because I don't know this. Let me try this Yoruba. Moni Iberi. Lori. So you've got a question. Okay, what's your question? Queen, what's your question? I went for interview in July. In July, case is still being processed. How long can I can answer a question about how long something's going to be processed on a case that I don't know anything about? Okay. VA got approved May 2025. Congratulations, but no change in my I-45 since 2022. Is that so? When people ask questions, is that normal? There's nothing abnormal with USCIS. It's USCIS. There's nothing abnormal with them. It's just a matter of, is your case within normal person time? Is does anyone have is anyone else experiencing this? There's nothing abnormal with USCIS in that. Everyone credit Jubelo. So but go on for as far as whether your case is within normal processing time. If you go to USCIS.gov/processing time, it will tell you, if your case is still within normal time frame or not. So, but there's a lot of backlog. So there's not, there's a lot of backlog that we're experiencing. For instance, we got quite a bit of receipt notices yesterday and today for VAWA cases that we filed in April and May. We are in September. So we're talking 4 to 5 months to get receipt notices of cases they've been going to they file a case on. That's our backlog this before. And then we're even getting the notices being issued. It's filed in Nebraska, but we're getting notices being issued from Texas. So there's quite a bit going on. And rather than them focus on things like that, they're more about chasing immigrants and trying to arrest people. So, priorities very misplaced. All right, let's see. BIA court says USCIS solely has jurisdiction on my 45 due to arriving alien status. So that's what I said earlier on. I said unless you are an arriving alien, then USCIS cannot adjudicate. If you play it back, you would hear me say that very clearly. So if you say you are an arriving alien, then USCIS will adjudicate your I-45 and they will give you your green card. But it is not advisable for you to travel, for instance, with you having a removal order. It will be very, very advisable for you to still try to reopen your case and have it terminated, especially if USCIS adjudicates and approves your I-45. Okay. Oh, Miss Yabo. What's your question? Yeah, FF let me try. My Uriah is very, very. I told you they asked us to talk about family planning, you sort of child christening, and God gave me an A3. That was my last Yoruba test, which was in 1994, 31 years ago. So let's try. No, you cannot. No, I take that back. No, I take that back. You can. You can, because the underlying petition has been approved, because obviously I worked on the case. The underlying petition has been approved. We're just waiting on the green card party. So because the underlying petition has been approved, you can. But this is just me personal, not because of any legal anything relating to your case. It's related to your case, but I would just feel more comfortable Tebani through there, and God willing, let us get the approval and then move forward with that. That's just me. But nothing says you cannot. I filed for renewal of my employment authorization a year ago. I did not hear anything yet. What category, based on what category did you file? What is this still within normal processing time? Those are questions you have to ask and see. Okay. You're welcome. How long does VAR take to get approved? USCIS.gov/person time. But right now, because I do quite a bit of VAR cases, 43 months. 43 months is almost 4 years. Work permit, if you filed it, make sure that you filed. So if you file a VAR petition and you want to get a work permit while your VAR petition is pending, then you must file an I-485 application if you are able to, if you're eligible to do that, so you can file a C9 work permit. If you file a C31 work permit with your VAR petition, obviously you're going to get a receipt notice. You're just not going to get the work permit itself until the VAR petition gets approved, because the C31 only gets approved when your VAR gets approved. So if you file a C31 and that's what you're expecting, then that's why it's been delayed, because you're not getting it until the VAR gets approved, which can take up to 3.5, 4 years. Change school after submitting AOS. Should I upload new I-20? I can tell you what you do on the pending case that I'm not representing you on. That's a very specific question, and this is just general information. Hello, Mr. Allen. How are you? I've got criminal court tomorrow morning, so let's try to wrap this up. My day was wonderful. How was yours? God's favorite. That's my child. How would you? How else you know that I'm your mom? And driving lessons has been going just great for me. It's been 5 years since I last taught anyone to drive, my oldest kid. So it's been a minute. So just trying to learn patience all over again. We get there. Because I just tell myself that, hey, be patient. You are going to benefit from this. Because when he starts driving himself to school, your life gets a lot easy. Not easy, because it doesn't get easy. It gets just a little bit easier, because then I don't have to worry about morning runs. Because my kid is into sports. They do training in the morning, strength conditioning, skill session. Sometimes we're leaving the house at 6 a.m. to get to school by 6:30. It's like, but we count it all joy. So I try to drive a lesson, yeah, one day at a time. God has been good and will continue to see you. Amen. Thank you. Hello, Anthony Sanders. It's been a minute. I'm a proud product of this 11 years of God's faithfulness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hmm. What a day is coming. I'll just come and talk to you guys about my journey. Some things you would not believe. Because this smile has a lot of history behind it. But I thank God. I thank God. Faithfulness of God. I have seen it. I have seen it. How do you maintain this growing weight? I I've been having completely different eating diet, and I don't call it a diet, but anyway, yeah, that's been helpful. And my son does training with me. That's what he was calling me for. My oldest son. We do virtual training. That's let me say something. We do virtual training. Remise. But it's I'm seeing a difference. People answer your calling. You don't know the people's destinies are linked to your existence. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wait, isn't that the truth? Do you handle EB1 and EB2? I want my sister to book a consultation with you ASAP. Wanted to know. I used to, but I don't. God's favorite. So and let me rephrase that. I don't do because I think that's what you mean, self petition. I've stopped doing self petition EB1, EB2. It was just become ridiculous. The RFEs were getting ridiculous. It was just too many RFEs, denials that it was baseless, people filing appeals. It was taking a toll on my mental health. So I don't do the self petition anymore. I still do EB1, EB2, but I represent employers now. So I don't do it for self petitioners. I just do it for employers. So if she has an employer, that's different. But if you're looking for her to sponsor herself, then I don't. But I refer all my cases out to or people who reach out to us and want to do self petition NRW or EB1 extraordinary ability for them to Attorney Matthew Myers in Texas. Uh, that's fine, Epic, but you just have to be sure. Just because that, like I explained in the email, that's what we have to deal with. Miss Walters is not nervous. Listen, I've lost count of how many H1Bs I've done, and so because I represent 3 universities, and so the yesterday was crazy. Yesterday, I don't think I even ate anything, and that was fun. I don't think I ate anything until about 3 or 3. I had no. It was after I picked you from school, so it was about 4 p.m. Because the whole day was they started that whole thing on Friday. The proclamation kicked in on Sunday, when everybody is going to church and all that. So, you know, my clients were like, "Hey, what's going on? What should we tell our employees? If who's just first of all tell everybody anyone has any travel plans, put it on hold for right now until we get clarification." So I can only imagine that she is. Yeah, so the best thing that we tell her right now is just don't travel, just wait and see. People are literally getting off the plane and canceling their trips that are on H1B. Yeah, so it's I don't know. That's just 2 million people that have been contributing to the Social Security purse. Absolutely, absolutely. I was wondering how we make changes without checks and balances. Hello, Miss Malabi. How are you? I responded to your email. I waited for interviews since July. Case is being processed. I think you're the same person who sent that. Life goes on, and we're following along. Okay, so basically, yeah, like life goes on, so we just see what's going, right? Like we just take it a day at a time, kind of thing. Just see how it goes. I think. What's the option for a 60-year-old not lived here for 15 or 20 years and does not speak or understand English? If they can see a physician and see if there will be any basis for them to have a medical exemption. Yeah, the audio went out for a while because my kid was calling. Any update on the birthright citizenship? It's not going to be applicable for right now. Knock on wood. And our prayer is it's never going to be applicable. So right now, all kids born to immigrants, whether you've got status or not, are still citizens until further notice. So unless something changed before I came on here this evening, but yeah. Usman, I would have answered your question. I think I already did, but I would have answered it again or gone through it again. But because you decided to put your question 10 times, it's not going to be answered. Doesn't count. Well, I would hope not. And after teaching him, he would take you for grocery runs. No, I don't need to go for grocery runs. He needs to go get the grocery and bring it because at the end of the day, he's the one eating most of it anyway. His brother's in school. So he just needs to run and do the grocery run on his own and bring it back because someone else still has to cook the food. I mean, listen, I'm looking forward to it more than you can imagine because I just want to just not have to, because my kid even has a special American kids or something. Like who's your daddy that you're going to go to the African parent in first of all going to their room without knocking, right? Because I don't know about you, but you couldn't walk into my parents' room without knocking. Yeah, I gotta knock. But not only you not knock, but then who is your daddy? That you go and wake up your African parents and they tap them, or you tap them on their shoulder, or you push them. That's how I get woken up in my home. The prophet has no honor on their own. He will push me, or he will tap my shoulder, or he will roll. There's just name it. I call it mommy abuse. And then on top of that, I gotta get up and take him to school. He's permanent to do virtual, but no, date nights. Exactly right. Okay. Do you handle F1 visa for someone who is in the state? Yes, that will be a change of status. Yes. Can a permanent resident file concurrently for his daughter who is out of status but is still a minor? If she's out of status, there's no concurrent filing to do. It's not a concurrent. It's not whether you can do concurrently. She's just out of status, so she's not eligible to apply for adjustment of status because for a green card holder, your child, even though she's a minor, still has to maintain status. If you are not far away from becoming a citizen, and as long as she is still under the age of 21 when you become a citizen, then that's going to be fine. But as a green card holder, even though she's a minor, she's not accruing any unlawful presence, but she still is going to be required to be in valid status. And if she's not in valid status, then she's not eligible for a green card application at this time. About 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕, I'm telling you. If an employee got selected for the lottery this year but hasn't received the H-1B documents, will the company have to pay 100,000 since the H-1B is issued after? That's. I wish I could say yes. I wish I could say yes. And it would depend. I think it would also depend. I wish I could tell you yes or no for sure. Is what I mean. It would also depend on if the person is applying out at the consulate, embassy, or change of status. I know we have some of my colleagues and I in our group who went back and forth. Some people were like, it doesn't apply if you're changing your status within the United States. It's very unclear. And that's just the truth of the matter. So for me, at this point, it's just a matter of seeing what happens within the next few days. They will call village meeting for you. Tell all the Kingston that you trying to beat them up. I'm telling you, yo, the African parents who twist that stuff, just you touching, they're like, oh no, this child wants to beat me. How long are you saying for a decision to be made in a bar case after you submit it? There's no set time. It varies. Some can take, and someone got an approval in 2 weeks, and some we've sent RFU responses over 2 months and it's still pending. There's no set time. Okay. 9:30. Okay, we're out of time. Okay. Hi, Miss Creasy. How are you? You said the lawyer filed immigrant visa application for your daughter who's a citizen by birth. Okay, but what's the question you have? You keep saying the same thing. What is the question you have? Osman, I'll take your apologies. So you got arrested in 2023, charges dismissed, cannot apply for next April, married to citizen. You already asked the question. This is not a yes or no question. You've got to have your, so the fact that the charges were dismissed doesn't mean that they're not going to do an investigation into it. It just depends on what it was. What were you, what was, I'm not telling you to say it here, but you're going to be better off. You don't, it doesn't have to be with our firm. Sit down with a lawyer and make sure that there's nothing, especially with this administration, they can make something that should not become an issue into a big deal. So this is not a yes, no. I can't tell you yes, no without knowing anything about your background. That's going to be highly irresponsible. So sit down with a lawyer, give them a detail about your background, and then they will be able to give you a detail, you'll be able to make an informed decision whether or not it's advisable to file now or not. Now we transfer the case to Cameroon due to the backwards, and we got interviewed and went to ask if we can do her consular report of birth abroad application here in Cameroon. It would depend on the embassy itself. So I can tell you yes or no, because it would just depend on your case history, why the case is. If you were able to get it transferred to Cameroon, then that's going to be a question to ask at the embassy there. So I can't tell you yes or no. Why would someone even file an immigrant visa application for a child who was already a citizen by birth? Are you sure that was a lawyer or a consultant? Big difference. But anyway, okay, people. Blessings to you as well, Miss Chrissy. So that is change your status within the United States. Okay. Change your status from STEM OPT. STEM OPT is still F1. So you're changing to what? What are you changing from? So you're changing from F1 to what? EB1 is, we're seeing, I don't do it anymore in the sense of, that one's I wouldn't, but right now I'm not taking any new cases. I should put it that way. We're seeing EB1s actually be approved, quote unquote, easier than EB2 and RW for whatever reason. But because I had a client who got an EB1 approved for that, and they had the EB2 denied. But anyway, that's that particular person. But they have different criteria anyway. But y'all, listen, we're here to give you the updates in immigration case, in immigration news, what's going on in the immigration world. It doesn't change what God has in store for you. It doesn't change your blessing. It doesn't change the abundance of His grace, and what is going to be yours is going to find you and bless you indeed. So just hold on, knowing that which concerns you has been perfected by God, and no one is going to displace you. No one is going to ridicule you. You're not going to be, disgraced out of this country and put on the plane or deported. That's not our portion. And he that has started the good work in us, He is able to complete that which concerns us, concerns our children, concerns all those who we pray on and we pray for. And so just keep knowing that God is in control. God remains in control. People may think they are in control, but each and every one of us on the surface of this earth are here because of the breath that God has put in us. And as long as it remains God's breath that gives us the grace and mercy to wake up each day, then it's the same God that is going to perfect that which concerns us. So we continue to believe, we continue to pray. That's the one thing we just can do. We continue to pray, continue to pray, continue to pray. Adeoye, we celebrate with you. VAW approved in 2022, got green card in 2024. So that gives, as someone was asking how long it takes, there's no set time. It just takes, it just depends. But the main thing is continue to pray and continue to believe that God remains in control of all that concerns us. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Bye, everybody.